Hitchhiker! Hitchhiker! I'm gonna have someone to talk to! Hitchhiker! Hitchhiker! I'm gonna make you a surprise.
Welcome back to episode 1, season 2 of Kaytothewatch. We have a new format and new videos to share with you.
So for episode 1 of season 2 of Kaytothewatch, we decided to go with a little indie film that we found on Amazon Prime called Space Trucker Bruce. Now, right off the bat, our favorite thing in this movie is that when we meet our lonely space trucker Bruce, he is appropriately wearing a John Deere hat and a shirt depicting the moon landing that says Finders Keepers. Now when we meet him, he's just going about his normal routine as a lonely space trucker. He is playing chess with a little bottle of sour cream with googly eyes called Mr. Sour Cream. Yeah. And he is also talking to a robot who we find out probably isn't actually real. When he encounters a hitchhiker, however, he is giddy with excitement because he realizes he might actually have a human to talk to, which he hasn't had for over 6 months. When he agrees to let the hitchhiker on a stranded vessel board his spacecraft, he is so excited that he decides to offer him a special treat.
I baked you a pie.
So the gift that Bruce made for Max is a pie, which is really sweet, but kind of a little weird. Max hesitantly takes it, but Bruce does let him know that he baked it just for him.
I've made it just for you.
Just for you.
So after a quick tour of the ship, both of them sit down and do what any two strangers who are confined to a small space might do. They small talk. However, whether it's for the sake of comedy or just really bad conversational timing by the actors, it kind of turns into one of the most awkward small talk sessions I've ever seen.
Do you have a long-range receiver? I couldn't connect to the network in the shuttle.
The long-range receiver's broken. It's been broken for 6 months. The home office probably thinks I'm dead. Or they are.
Hey, is that pizza?
Oh no, you do not want any of that. That's been sitting there for 6 months.
Ew.
Did you know that Domino's delivers to Earth orbit?
Really?
By the way, if you see a container of sour cream sitting around, do not mess with it. That is Mr. Sour Cream, and he and I are in the middle of a chess game.
Okay.
Now, in that awkward little chestnut of conversation, Bruce does reveal that his long-range receiver has been broken for 6 months. Max, however, doesn't really seem to care, even though that will be important later. About 2 scenes later, in fact. Nevertheless, Max and Bruce seem to hit it off pretty well, and we are then treated to a montage of extreme bonding activities between the two. Things that include playing a board game called Galaxy Truckers or lying still in bed. So everything is pretty much uneventful at this point, up until about the 17-minute mark of the film, when we finally have the exciting inciting incident. Max hears something and goes to check it out and discovers that they're picking up a strange signal on the long-range receiver that he was told is broken.
Distress call from vessel 259.
Strange, isn't it?
What are you doing?
I'm working on this panel.
Why are we receiving a signal? I thought your long-range receiver was broken.
It is.
How can we be receiving anything then?
It's not completely broken. It still picks up things close by.
So they check the ship's radar and they don't see anything and they just go back to bed. After that, they just kind of spend their time playing chess, building a popsicle stick house, and of course, reading the latest issue of Galactic Butts.
Now, this has already been about 10 minutes of the film, just since the inciting incident. And another significant portion of the second act of this film is taken up with totally menial activities like watching movies, meditating, and thank God there's a kung fu montage.
Ow! Jesus. Ow! Hey, this is a method designed to get you in touch with the moment. Pretty good idea, huh? Were you thinking of anything else while I was hitting you?
No.
Well, great, then it worked. Let's go have some pie.
I actually like this part of the movie because this is where we learned a little bit more about the characters, and it had some really cute and funny moments, little heartwarmers in there.
So for me, this part of the movie is kind of where it started to feel like it was dragging. And right when I was about to ask myself, is this what the rest of the movie is going to be? Boom! We get another signal, this time from a mysterious ship that is on the radar. And no one on it is responding to radio calls, so they decide to board.
Once they're on the ship, they find a bunch of scrap metal that they decide they want to pick up and sell. But there's an overheating reactor, so they have to leave in a hurry.
They do manage to get away, and they do get to take some valuables with them, including a frozen woman that Bruce found who he decided to bring on board and name Jane Doe. So once they have Jane Doe on board, they thaw her out and then essentially repeat the first half of the movie with a bunch of innocuous tasks and meaningless activities, except this time, Jane is included, and they're essentially teaching a fully grown woman who seems to have the mind of a toddler how to adult.
I don't get it. She checks out okay, except for some minor memory loss.
Well, what's wrong with her then?
I don't know, maybe she was always like this. There's no way for us to know.
Bruce is my hero. Yes, he is.
Well, she likes you, that's good. And it's not like you're the picture-perfect model of sanity either.
Paper towel song. Paper towel song. Paper towel song.
Final dramatic moment of the movie. They're entering the atmosphere of Saturn's moon Titan. This is where they're going to dock their ship at a nice, cute little space cafe. But flying into the atmosphere nearly causes their ship to crumble, which actually gives us one of the best sequences of the movie.
Port fusion plant failure. Starboard engine struts starting to buckle.
How can you drink at a time like this?
This is the perfect time to drink.
Water storage tank A ruptured.
I need some cup holders in here.
Oh, thank God.
I didn't think we were gonna make it.
So somehow, after they've docked successfully, without ever really explaining to us what was so hazardous about entering the atmosphere and how they overcame it, just kind of happens. They sit down to have a meal while they analyze some of the materials that they took from the ship. Apparently, they got a ton of carbonado, which is just the Spanish word for carbonate. But according to this movie, they have a shitload of amorphous space diamonds, which we can only assume makes them rich as dicks. So in the end, we found ourselves actually kind of interested in watching a film about a lonely space trucker named Bruce trying to find friendship and love while out in the deep recesses of space. Even though it lacked some of the production value that we're used to seeing these days, it ended up being not too bad of a film. What would you give it as a rating?
9.5 on a scale of spaghetti.
9.5 out of spaghetti. You heard it here first.